The Crocodile versus Gaara debate has always been stupid to me because for some reason people think Gaara has a chance in this fight. The main argument as to why Gaara wins is that since Crocodile turns into sand and Gaara controls sand, he can just control Crocodile. It's the stupidest BS I ever heard. Even using the Luffy versus Crocodile fight, we see that a Logia can still reform even if they're completely restricted. Funny enough, it's Luffy trying to eat Crocodile that shows us why this foolproof plan just doesn't really work. With Crocodile's weakness being wet things, him being inside of Luffy's wet mouth should keep him restricted. He shouldn't be able to reform with this logic, but no, he can. Just like if Gaara infused him with his chakra, he can still reform as a person and boom, chakra lost. Unless you want to make the BS argument that Gaara can control people too with his chakra. No, if that was the case, you would have seen it in the series outside of actual puppetry jutsu. And to add to, paramecia fruits are the only ones where your body is passively using the fruit itself, like Luffy's body being rubber 24/7. But with Logias, that's the thing that they turn on and off, just like zone fruits. So yes, if Gaara did find a way to control Crocodile, he could just reform as a person and that chakra would just be lost. And he can spam do that until he runs out of chakra and then he's just dead. And even in his sand state, I would assume that it's harder to control sand that has a mind of its own versus the sand that he controls, which is just sand. And people tend to forget in this debate that Crocodile can control sand too, so it's not only him that he's trying to control, it's also his own sand that Crocodile is actively, fighting back on. You know what, let's throw in a BS hypothetical. Let's say Gaara is able to control Crocodile and stop him from, reforming into a person. Then what? Then what is he supposed to do after that? That's like a man with no arms or legs sitting in front of a tied up person. What can he do to him? Like, you have him, but what can you do to him? What is Gaara gonna throw a sand blast at a sand man? Throw a sand tomb at a pile of sand? He's just gonna be throwing sand at sand and this can't do anything. Oh, but we seen Gaara throw some hands in a filler arc. What is Gaara gonna do? Punch sand? Like, I'm just trying to picture how this fight could possibly play out in y'all heads. Gaara can't do anything to Crocodile even if he was able to control him. I want y'all to keep in mind that devil fruits do not work like chakra. Like with chakra, you're low on chakra, you can't do any more jutsus, your chakra control becomes weaker, stuff like that. It's not really a fun time. But with devil fruits, they can be on their last leg still throwing out their strongest attacks. They don't have this devil fruit cursed energy where they have a limit to how much of their devil fruit they can use. It's more of how much they can handle at a moment. Like Crocodile can't take every sand molecule from Earth and use it in one big blast. They still have a limit to how much they can control, but that's it. That's really it. So when Gaara runs out of chakra trying to control an entire tsunami worth of living sand, Crocodile just kills him. Like, there's nothing Gaara can do. And the two big brain counterplays that I've heard against this is one, Gaara can just put blood on his hands and punch Crocodile. For starters, Gaara would have to throw his own sand away to do this because it's not like he's a sand bender. He can't throw his hands while throwing giant sand hands around. As far as we're aware, he hasn't shown that level of control where he can do all this sand jump while scrapping with people. He needs his hand motions. That would just leave Gaara completely defenseless and give Crocodile more sand to work with, where Gaara would have to use his sand to counteract it. So Gaara won't even get a punch off before Crocodile starts sand blasting. And I don't know if Gaara still wears that sand mask, I truly can't remember, but if he does, Crocodile could just suffocate him with that and he wouldn't even have to lift a muscle. But it doesn't matter anyway. To assume that Gaara will know to just cut his hands and make bloody fists and scrap with Crocodile just as if he just knows his power in and out, it's just unrealistic. And with Gaara being terrified of his own blood in part 1, even if he got over it now, I still don't see him cutting open his hands with that whole freak out that he had before. And people saying that Gaara has blood in his sand so he can touch the blood is dry. The blood is dry. He doesn't have wet blood dripping in his sand. None of the blood is dry. And the other argument I heard back to the whole controlling Crocodile thing is that he can throw him in a body of water. Typically in battles like these, they take place in a certain type of area, like a water bender in an area full of water. This fight would probably take place in the desert, aka an area without water. But let's just say he can still leave that area and find some water somewhere. He would have to control Crocodile long enough to bring him to this area with water while he's still getting attacked. Because even if he is controlling Crocodile, this man doesn't need to use his hands to control sand. You can even see it on the picture to the right that Crocodile doesn't have to do any hand motions to use his abilities. He can just use them. So even if Gaara does have him under his full control this entire time, Crocodile can still attack him completely. And Having him under control wouldn't do anything to him. And please don't say anything about putting him in a sand coffin or no BS like that, because just like Smoker can morph with the smoke off his cigarette, Crocodile can just morph with that and now he's a giant sand prison. I'm sorry, man. Gaara is one of my favorite Naruto characters, but the hoops you have to go to say that Gaara wins this fight is just crazy. That's been the video, man. Y'all hop on the Discord in the bio. We talk about anime, we talk about music, we talk about all types of stuff. Subscribe and like if you like the content. That's been the video. Appreciate all the support. I'm out.
Take your chance, beat it now.